When fixing and flipping houses, a successful rehab all starts with careful planning before you start. Plan correctly ahead of time and your rehab will be a success. On today's video, I want to share with you my 5-step process to plan a successful rehab when flipping houses coming up.
The Real Estate Funding Kit is out now. Learn how to get 100% funding for all your deals without dealing with the banks. Claim your free copy at myfundingkit.com.
If you're new here to this channel, I'm Jerry Norton with FlippingMastery.com, and this channel is all about ways to help you make money wholesaling and flipping real estate so you can live your dream life. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get notified when new videos are released. As they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, and never has this been more true than when rehabbing houses. When it comes to planning for your rehab, your goal is to be 100% ready by the time you close on the purchase. That means if your closing on the purchase is at 10 a.m., your dumpster arrives at 10:01 a.m., and your demo crew is ready to start. Remember, when you fix and flip houses, capital is invested on the deal, and there is a cost to that capital. Time is money. The faster you complete the rehab, the sooner you'll be back on the market and the sooner you can find a buyer and close and make a profit. Likewise, the longer it takes to complete the rehab, the more it costs you and the more money you lose on the deal. My number one rule with rehabbing houses is not a day goes by without making progress on the rehab, but in order to hit the ground running on the day of closing, you've got a lot of prep to do beforehand. So I want you to think about the timeline to prepare for your rehab. Your window to be 100% ready to start your rehab all starts with the moment you get the contract with the seller and you decide you're going to fix and flip the deal until the day of closing on the purchase. For that reason, when fixing and flipping, I advise you get a 30-day closing. That gives you 30 days to get your rehab plan fully ready to execute. Depending on the size and scope of the rehab, 30 days gives you plenty of time to be ready. Now let me walk you through my 5-step process and also share with you some free resources to help you. The very first thing you do is going to sound really odd at first, but keep watching and I'll explain and it'll make sense. Step 1 is to hire your listing agent. Now I'm talking about the agent who's going to list your house for sale after it's fixed up. And yes, I almost always resell my flips with a real estate agent. It gets you the most exposure in the market and is the fastest way to get a buyer for your house. Now, why would hiring a listing agent be the very first thing I do? I mean, technically, I don't need the agent until after the rehab is done and I'm ready to list the house for sale. Here's why. The listing agent is going to also be our designer. Not any agent, but a top producing agent is a local market expert. They are working with buyers every single day. They are intimately aware of what the trends are and what buyers want. You are going to rely heavily on their knowledge and expertise. And the good news is this doesn't cost you anything extra. Since the agent is going to be the one selling it later, they are more than happy to help you create a winning house that will sell for top dollar and quickly. Now, pro tip here, the best way to get a top producing agent is to call up the biggest real estate firm near your deal, like Century 21, Remax, Keller Williams, and ask the receptionist who the number one selling agent is in the office. Now, every office tracks this, so it's easy to find out. You want either the number 1, 2, or 3 producing agent in that office. Step 2 is to do a property walkthrough with your listing agent. They are going to go through every item of the house and tell you exactly what you have to do, need to do, and should do. They will tell you what things a buyer will require and what things a buyer doesn't care about. For example, do you have to replace the doors and trim, or can you just paint the existing doors and trim? Do you need to install wood floors in the bedrooms? Or will a buyer be okay with new carpet instead? Listen, the biggest mistake flippers make is they guess what to do, or they decide what to do on their own personal preference, or they over renovate and do things that don't provide a return on investment that a buyer won't pay you for. I once did a big rehab project in Myers Park in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was a high-end neighborhood and all of the homes were like 100-year-old homes, and I was doing my initial design walkthrough with my agent, and one of the rooms had uneven floors from the home settling over the past 100 years. Now, I mentioned to the agent that I would have to remove the subfloor and fix it. And the agent said to me, "Don't waste your money and leave it." She said, "In fact, buyers here like that as it shows character." Now, I couldn't believe it, and I told her, "No way, I don't believe you." So she took me to like 3 or 4 $1 million homes in the neighborhood, and sure enough, they all had uneven floors. Now, obviously that doesn't apply in every market, but it did in Myers Park. Had I not used a top producing agent in that market to create my rehab design, I would have wasted thousands of dollars unnecessarily fixing the floor. Not only will the top producing agent / designer help create the exact rehab plan, They will also tell you exactly which finishes to use, including paint colors, cabinets, light fixtures, tile, wood floor stain, etc. So as you're walking the property with the agent, you're taking meticulous notes and will create a detailed written scope of work outlining everything to be done on the house. Now that you've created your detailed rehab plan, step 3 is to get bids from contractors. Your goal is to get 3 bids for every item of the rehab. Do not hire a handyman to bid your rehab. A handyman is okay at everything, but not good at anything. Get specialized contractors for each area of the rehab. A painter that just does painting, a tile guy that just does tile, an electrician that just does electrical, and so on. Now on this video, I'm not going to talk about how to find and hire the right contractors, but I did a video which I explained the 8 things to do to hire the perfect contractor. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below and you can watch it later. Once you have all of your bids and your updated rehab budget, it's time for step 4, which is to create the rehab timeline. The rehab timeline is the sequence of events to complete your rehab. It's an outline of when each item of the rehab is to start and how long it will take to complete. This is where your contractor's expertise comes in. In addition to giving you a bid to do the work, require that they also give you their timeline to do their specific scope of work. Ask them how long it will take them and what they will need to have completed before they can start their scope of work. This will help you create your timeline. For example, if you're installing a new roof and gutters, the gutter contractor will need the new roof done first, because if the gutters were to be installed first, the roofing contractor might damage the new gutters during his roof demo. So every rehab is different because every scope of work is different, but if you don't have a rehab timeline and hold your contractors accountable to it, your rehab will take twice as long to complete. Once you've created your rehab timeline, it's time for step 5, which is to hire your contractors and set clear expectations. Listen, 90% of problems with contractors can be avoided if you set very clear expectations upfront ahead of time. Every contractor will sign a contractor agreement, which includes, among other things, the scope of work, the timeline, how payment is handled, and bonuses and penalties. Now, there are actually 15 clauses I include in my contractor agreement, and I did a video where I break it all down. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below. You can watch it later. And if you'd like, I'll give you my contractor agreement that I use on all of my rehabs for free. I'll put the download link for that as well in the description below. But I do want to take a minute and talk about bonuses and penalties. Now, typically what I like to do is give a bonus for early completion and have a penalty for late completion. This is how you hold your contractors accountable to the timeline and get your rehab done quickly. One way that I found to do this is to calculate my daily cost of capital that I'm paying my money investors who funded my fix and flip. And for every day my contractor gets done early, I pay him that amount as a bonus. And for every day that he's late on completion, he pays me that amount in the form of a penalty. And let me reiterate what I said in the very beginning of this video. The key to a successful rehab is careful planning ahead of time. And the best tool to help plan and organize all of the steps of flipping houses is FLIPSTER. FLIPSTER is a cloud-based deal management system that not only helps you organize, streamline, and automate all of the steps to wholesaling and flipping houses, but it even comes included with a paperless contractor management center. It's really cool. To check it out and see it in action, just go to getflipster.com. Hey, thanks for joining me on this video. If you learned something new, show some love, hit that like button, and leave a comment. Let me know your biggest takeaway from this video. I'd love to hear from you, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. I'm dedicated to helping you make more money in less time wholesaling and flipping houses so you can live your dream life. And one thing I did not go over on this video was the right way to pay your contractors. It's really important that you don't do that wrong, so be sure to watch this next video where I break it down for you, and I'll see you on the next video.